West Central Ag here in Ulen, Minnesota, with multiple points for farmers to dump soybeans that they're bringing out of the field with this sunny weather. We'll give you a little idea of the massiveness of this site that Walt Johnson Construction and Crane Service working today to make it even faster, better, and more efficient than before. As you can see, I'm about 40, probably 50 feet away from that crane frame here, and I still can't get it all in with a wide angle focus. Today Inform TV is in Ulen, Minnesota, on the east side of the Red River Valley, where we're on kind of the Lake Agassiz east bank that's become quite a grain moving point as agriculture continues to expand and just get bigger. We want to show you some of the incredible size of what goes on in the grain industry today to move product to world markets, U.S. markets, state markets, local markets. And we're here to cover some of the work Walt Johnson Construction and Crane Service does. As you can see, this incredible maze of equipment that is here today that gives you a little idea of what people like Walt Johnson Construction and Crane Service, here's one of their units. They have a new 300-ton unit on the other side that was involved in lifting conveying equipment to a 600-ton crane. So when we look at what happens to feed the world today, I'm just going to kind of scan the best I can with bright sunshine here today, and always trying to get an opportunity to focus in on things in our ever-changing world. They lifted this big chunk of conveying equipment. That piece of equipment is what Walt Johnson Construction out of Alexandria is doing just to convey grain to these huge bends on the west side of the tracks, Burlington Northern Line, and there'll be more conveyors put to those two bends over there as they get the first section here secured today. You said you got how many bushel of grain do you have in this facility, you said, roughly?
I think we got around 14 million.
14 million of storage in this facility. How many million of grain, bushels of grain you handle per year then?
Oof. I couldn't even know where to guess.
Okay.
A lot more than that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Walt Johnson himself is going to be explaining to what went on here and what they're getting ready to do tomorrow, and how many pounds of equipment they've got on top of these grain bins, and what flexibility it gives this operation here in Ulen, Minnesota. Walt, can you kind of tell us what you've got going here today?
Well, what we set up this morning was that catwalk up there is about 95 feet long. And that, we got the 600-ton crane here that did the actual pick and set. We had to do a little bit of shuffling around with our 300-ton to get it in position where they need it. So we've got about 98,000 pounds up there. Our second pick, which is sitting over there behind our crane, our 300-ton, that's going up tomorrow if the wind isn't blowing too hard. And that's another 96,000 pounds right there. So when we get done with the third pick going over that third bin over there too, when we're done, we're going to have about 300,000 pounds sitting up on the towers up here. And that gives them the capability to load the bins at 30,000 and 40,000 bushels per hour. So they can technically go 70,000 into each bin, or they can go 30 to one and 40 to the other. different commodities, no cross-contamination or anything like that. So it's definitely a state-of-the-art elevator here in Ulen.
But there's big conveyors and underneath the bends as well. What size conveyors you putting in there, Walt?
That's a 60,000 bushel per hour reclaim that we're bringing back to that 60,000 bushel per hour bucket elevator over here. It goes direct over to their bulk waiter for loading trains.
And so they can load cars at 60,000 bushel an hour.
They actually can load, we'll be able to load about 100,000 an hour here when we're done.
Wow.
Which will get them a train done in about 8 hours.
That's their goal. And it looks like the Burlington's redoing a track for them as well. Are they redoing it all the way north of here too, or just up to here?
Not sure how far they're going, but they load a lot of trains. They probably load 60 to 70 trains a year.
60, 70 trains a year.
Yeah.
And that would be like 108 cars or 110?
It varies a little bit, but you know, 400,000, 450,000 bushels per train.
Okay.
Something like that.
And so the reclaim under these bends will be enough to, from this side or the main side, to do 60,000 up to how many thousand an hour?
They'll be able to load up to 100,000 bushels per hour.
Wow. What size legs are those then as far as width roughly? And you're putting some new legs in. Are they like 5 foot wide or 6 foot wide of belts?
A little wider than that. I think this one's 6 foot wide with 3 rows of cups. Maybe it's 4 rows. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm putting you under pressure. Do you need to go back here and talk to those guys?
We're gonna. Right now we're laying this boom down because we gotta break this crane down in order to move it. This crane weighs about 750,000 pounds.
How many pounds is it weigh?
About 750,000 pounds when it's fully rigged. So we got to tear that down. We can't drive with all that weight.
What about your new one, your 300-ton crane that you just got from Germany? What does that weigh rig?
Well, right now, when that's on the road, we're about 145,000 pounds. But right now, as it sits, we've got 50 tons of counterweight on the machine, which we can take that up to like 90 tons of counterweight if we're doing certain picks far away from the crane. But we're able to drive with that 100,000 pounds of counterweight on the crane. We're moving it around the job site only.
You got that many axles and tire size to meet Minnesota or U.S. laws or not?
Not legal to move on the road like that, but when we're stripped down, we've got a 4-axle boom dolly that we can haul that crane with the boom laid down on the boom dolly, and then we're road legal.
Okay.
We're under 20,000 per axle.
And when will you have this ready to go? What's your target date?
Well, we're running a little behind. We had a little delays in manufacturer deliveries, but we'll get this. If we can get this catwalk up here by the end of the week, the electrician's got to get them wired. We've already got the other conveyor ready to go across. So in about 2 weeks, we're hoping that we can get these filled up with corn, and then that's their goal to get them full by harvest.
And these bends you just put up this summer as well?
The elevator had a different contractor put them up.
What size are they? The one guy said 840,000, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. The big ones are 840.
Okay. And what else do we need to have our audience know that's going on here, Walt?
Just a lot of coordination and a lot of people on the job here. We've had upwards of 25 to 30 people working at one time here. When the bid crew was in here, we probably had 50 guys here. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of cooperation with everybody. But,
how large a crew do you keep on full time in Alexandria then, Walt? Roughly.
Well, we're running right around 30 millwrights right now on the road.
Okay. Okay.
We've got 3 cranes. We've got the 300, we've got the 110, and then we've got a 100-ton crawler.
Okay. And from a standpoint of behind you, these big cranes got the big pads to keep it stable. how large a pads do you put down for your new crane? 12 by 12, or aren't they quite that big?
These pads are 5 by 7,
Okay.
and they weigh 7,000 pounds for the 4 of them.
So what do they call these extended vehicles you got? What's the
Or
term?
telehandlers.
Okay. And so you use them to move the pads around even.
Move
That's
the
how-
pads, move equipment, a real integral part of every job that we're on for moving stuff around, because there isn't anything anymore that you can pick up and carry.
And Walt, how long have you been doing this?
Well, this will be my 39th year.
39th year.
Started my 28th year that I've owned the company.
Okay. And you started out as a millwright or a crane operator?
Well, I think a monkey actually to begin with.
Okay.
Got to work my way up, learn it all.
You've got quite an operation going here, and we'll just take a quick break and we'll give you a chance to think of something else, but we're sure happy we get a chance to film this today, Walt.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up.
Now we're going to show you the other crane that's coming in to lift this 96,000 pound conveying system that Walt was kind enough to take time to tell us about. We just want to show you how big that block and tackle is there with those two guys standing next to it. And it's partially on the ground, so we just want to show you the magnitude of what happens in rural America, and that's why you need an independent TV guy like Inform TV on air to show you what's going on. And it's just incredible the size of this boom on a crane that Walt brought in from Fargo to look at how those beams or cylinders, whatever you want to call it, have compressed compared to what they were stretched out to get that conveying boom up there, and how now it's those huge pads to keep it stable from sinking out of sight. And whenever you're in construction ground and this territory here in Minnesota, you always need to remember your base of operation, and I'm talking about good old Mother Earth, that they have to make sure. Here's some of that, I presume 5 by 7 pads that Walt was talking about that they put under his 300-ton crane to make sure it's safe, so these cranes don't lose the center of gravity, because indeed they can. And you don't want to do that when you have something that weighs almost 100,000 pounds. On the other side now with the sun changing, we got that noisy aeration fans. That's the noise you're hearing to push air through and balance out the moisture of the various loads of rain that they store in a place like this. And we'll try to focus in quick on to show you how large that block and tackle system is there on additional crane. And obviously this 300-tonner that Walt Johnson just bought from and put on a ship that came from Germany. We're dealing with real weight here today. under. So we'll watch that come this direction before I jump out of the way. Quite an operation. I'm going to swing the camera a little bit just to the other side of the tracks and give you an idea. Everything is so big here, no matter where I position a camera. And where Walt was talking about a 60 to 100,000 bushel an hour bulk weigher, there would be like a series of 3 bins in top of that. One filling the bulk weigher, then it'll balance out and then dump into the bin below it, and then it'll come out of that spout into the rail cars. And Walt is telling us that system there with those concrete tanks can push out up to 100,000 bushel an hour. Now, look over my shoulder so I'm not in anybody's way as I bend the camera, but you can see quite an operation. And this tower closest to us, if I can get far enough, they're going to put another 40,000 bushel an hour conveyor over there, I believe, Walt told me. And that rail that you're seeing, and I'm going to put you into the sun a little bit, that's a safety rail for workers when they're standing on top of those rail cars and loading and opening hatches and closing hatches on top of hopper cars that they load in a facility like this. Number of different size bins so they can handle, I'm sure they handle wheat, barley, oats, sunflower, corn, soybeans, and so they have various products. But with the new shorter season hybrids, they're pushing some incredible corn yields into North Country here that when I was a student at Crookston back in the 60s and 70s, the University of Minnesota Crookston, basically corn in this area was strictly a silage crop. They didn't have early season varieties that would yield to be economical, and most of the corn was harvested for silage. Now they have early season hybrids that put out some incredible yields, just like in southern Minnesota in the Corn Belt, based on real short season hybrids. So technology continues to grow, and the GMO products, advanced plant breeding, is what feeds our 7 billion people in the world now today, or 6 or 7 billion. And Walt Johnson Construction and Crane Service is a big part of that. The grain that is in this massive facility here today in Ulen, it would astound you if you would track this into how many locations in the world product from Ulen, Minnesota goes with the huge volume here they're handling today. Walt is back on the right side of the screen here, giving us some instructions. The crane operators, they start to lift, starting to teeter a little, which should be a good sign, I would think. You can see it's starting to swing and much better balance this time. be to connect that system together. And before you can see how this 600-ton crane has been contracted to try to figure out where they need to be positioned tomorrow to move to pick up what we just watched Walt Johnson Construction's 300-ton crane lift, 96,000 pounds. Talking real weight here, folks. Remember, we're in a facility here that has storage capacity for 14 million bushel now. Just think of that. 14 million bushel. Walt was talking about that they'll put on these machines to counterbalance the weight they have on the other end. So, and behind it will be the structure that I believe this tower structure or this massive conveyor system will end up. And I believe will end up, and I've got to look if I get the camera right up by that catwalk in some direction. Now you also see that men have to be delivered as well in an operation like this. That no easy task either. And put them in a basket and lift them wherever they need to go. In this case, you have to understand that that crane is here to see that those electricians that are putting up solid wall conduit, I'm blank on the name unfortunately for a second here, that they're hanging electrical conduit, rigid conduit that's explosion proof in an operation like this. And one of the reasons they like in the modern setups that are outside, so if a bearing freezes up or something goes wrong with grain dust, it's free to escape without doing massive damage to either buildings or human life. But you can see the size of conduit this electrical crew is working on. As Walt mentioned, you got to get conveying equipment, you have to get electrical connections as well. So it's a joint effort by various contractors on any huge project like this. I believe they're just going to drag that ahead enough that the next set they do, they can lift 2 tomorrow or whatever day, the weather. One of the other things, even though this is massive, if we get extremely strong winds, they just will not do it because all this stuff is wind vulnerable, even though in its mass weight. We're going to give you another look at Walt Johnson's new 300-ton crane from Germany that is just going to move this additional conveyor into position. So, 600-ton crane they also have on site here today in Ulen, Minnesota. And grab this conveyor that I believe is going from the concrete house on the west side of the Burlington Northern tracks. As you can see there, we've got cranes here, we've got farmers still bringing in soybeans. Yeah, everything's got to be done. Give you an idea how massive all this is. In the book, when we have 2, 4, 5 crewmen working on this additional conveying system that's going to take grain from across the tracks, I believe either direction. See how long this connected unit is going to be, and the superstructure it takes to hold that massive conveyor, as well as the massive stream of grain that will be in it at the same time. One of the things that I maybe didn't touch on as much as I should, see here's the outriggers on these cranes, modern cranes. Of course, they've been using them for years. How they come out to give stability to a massive lift of when you're lifting something that weighs 100,000 pounds or more, and they're on all 4 corners. I believe Walt said these are 5 by 7, but essential in any lifting operation to make sure the crane itself stays exactly where it is intended, its point of lift, and not tilt or tip, and has massive weight on the end of that stick. Trying to give you a little quick thought process of what they're doing here to get closer to this tower, and eventually on top of the concrete elevator, slip-form elevator behind us. And now whether they're going to try to swing that other end a little more, looks like they're completed their task on this end. Incredible the size that block and tackle. Walt's a good sized guy, probably around 6 feet, and look at that piece he took those straps off of. I don't know if I can do it by the cable. Another one is they're changing the position or length and type of stick or jib that they're going to be using for their next lift. They've taken that one portion off, and whether they're going to lengthen that or shorten it. And then this conveyor that they just pulled is going to go on that column we pointed out, as well as up this concrete elevator with additional supports on the roof of this concrete slip-form elevator and walkway system. The task completed with moving that structure. Both the Walt's cranes are kind of contracting themselves and probably getting ready to move, so they're not in the way of the dump pits that are kind of between those two rows of grain bins we filmed before. Walt's going to explain to us a little bit what goes on in those booms there. Walt, we're contracting the black portion and there's cable there. Explain what goes on in that stick.
Well, these are full hydraulic cranes. They've got one hydraulic cylinder within that boom section.
One hydraulic cylinder within the boom.
That runs all of the sections of boom out individually.
A little louder.
So you have to you'll take it, if you're going to extend the whole boom, all 6 sections, you have to shoot the first one, the farthest one out. Then the hydraulic cylinder, it takes it out there, and then there's hydraulic pins inside of the boom, and they pin that section into place. The hydraulic cylinder comes all the way back. It'll pick up another section, take it out, pin it, come back, get another one, and so you got everything in the configuration that you've got it set for.
And is there a conduit or pipe for the cable to work as well in there?
There's a reel that tells the length of the boom, and then there's sensors in there that tell what position the boom's in. It's very technical and very they stand up very well for as technical as they are. We've really never had a lot of trouble with them, but there really is a lot of things that can go wrong within that boom, inside of the boom. And when you have trouble with the boom, you have to take the boom apart. You have to take it off the machine and then pull it all apart, get inside there, look at the rails that hydraulic cylinder runs on.
Okay, I can see now the cable's actually on outside of the boom, isn't it?
Right.
And the block and tackle that's what that's called.
That's the main lift line. Right now we've got 6 parts of line on there. We use for lifting that big catwalk. So we were good for up to 120,000 pounds with that configuration.
Now, one of the other things we want you to be aware of on a project like this, these huge cranes are always changing what we reference as stick or jibs. You can see how that cable that does the lifting in certain portions of the crane. In these cranes, like Walt Johnson's got, and the outfit they brought in from Fargo, they got a combination of both hydraulics and cable. And I'm not sure, I'm not going to try to imply which is pulling wool, but most on the jib end, it's normally cable like you're running right now. And we'll try to get over there and show you on that 600-ton crane as well how they're changing either the jib or adding stick to it to make sure they can do the maximum amount of safe lifting from one point. As you can see today, as we've watched both these cranes, actually there's 4 cranes on site here today, how they must be constantly moving or setting up in that jibs, I guess it is, or now what, outrigger, excuse me, that they can help lift and kind of slide this one this way, and I'm sure they're trying to figure out, find that right center point of gravity and balance to lift with that big crane. 2 major lifts tomorrow or whenever conditions are favorable. Moving those that stick out in various stages, but it might be a combination of that and some cable. I'm not sure, and I don't want to bother Walt and his crew. Don't see that cable roll moving, so I believe I'm right on that. And you can see on the side there, the grade would be what I believe they call jibs, and to reach over the building roof area and still be safe. But you got to remember, the further any of these cranes go out, the less lift potential they have. This massive operation here in Ulen, Minnesota, where across the Highway 32, semis are coming in to start the process of which dump pit area and which commodity to keep these commodities, whether it's soybeans, oats, wheat, corn. This time of the year is probably soybeans coming in, but probably some corn as well. And they weigh and get sampled. That automatic probe system checks of the commodity as well as the grade that's coming in. When we talk about grade, we talk about foreign matter or moisture content that will help determine the price and whether it needs to be dried or in an aeration bin. But as you can see, the trucks just keep coming after they dump their load and get a final slip for whichever farmer operation it's coming from. And now I'm going to swing yet at the same time. I don't know if they got a seed cleaning operation over there, but they got additional bins there. I presume is all there. You can see the semis coming in from the south. As the nice weather, an empty sugar beet truck is coming here. And then I'll also show you the massive fertilizer blending operation to put nitrogen, phosphate, potash, and whatever micronutrients the soil in this area would need. And then as I swing the camera a little more in the background there's this massive flat storage that is grain storage as well, I believe. And so bear with me, the challenges of filming a spot like this, and we sure want to thank Walt Johnson Construction and Crane Service for allowing us to come into West Central Ag here in Ulen, Minnesota, and give the viewers of Informed TV a look at what is going on. And yet at the same time, we have trouble with North Dakota Public TV and Selective TV and some of the cable operations of not wanting us on air because we look at the good, the fair, and the ugly of society, and that's what a press organization like Informed TV has to do in an air of American people concerned, whether they're part of the Trump revolution, the Bernie revolution, or sticking with the establishment of Hillary and Obama or the Bushes. So we have things we must talk about if we're going to keep our world at peace and efficient in an ever-changing world in the nuclear age. And we'll just focus there just a little bit. There's a whole semi-load of conveyors and downspouts and whatever. Just to give you an idea how massive everything is today. At the same time as the crop is coming out into massive storage and handling here at West Central Ag in Ulen, Minnesota, you see these semis with a conveyor coming out the back, or these tandem trucks with augers coming out the back. As the temperature cools down, they'll also be extremely busy in farm country putting down fertilizer for next year's crop, and these trucks would be waiting for the crop to come out, the soybeans to come out, and then start spreading fertilizer for next year's corn, sugar beet, the wheat crop, and a never-ending process in agriculture in our modern world. Now we'll just give you another look at the area that Walt Johnson's construction crew is adding as trucks are lined up. They kind of subsided for a moment, so I thought it was safe to come over here. You can see that massive leg and dump facility with that leg that's probably 6 feet wide with probably 3 or 4 rows of 24-inch cups, something like that, I presume. Look at how wide that grain leg is going up to feed these 3 massive new, 2 or 3, a massive 840,000 bushel bins that we were by earlier on our shoot here. Gorgeous day here in Ulen this October. As we continue with our shoot here in Ulen, Minnesota at West Central Ag, look at the massive belt that will be going into that new leg that we've been photographing. Cranes working on. I presume there are 3 rows of 24-inch cups on that green leg belt. That will quickly elevate a semi-load of grain to be conveyed to one of the areas of this massive operation. But look at the size of those green cups. My pen's a little loose here, sorry. Look at the size of those cups that will each grab a full helping of grain as it's dumped into these pits. Wow. Now, Alan Repke of Farm TV, I'll give you a little quick look of how close together these huge cups are on that elevator leg belt that will feed those bins at up to 70,000 bushel an hour. Now remember, this is wrapped over a head pulley that will convey that grain from a dump pit. We'll see if we can find one of those head pulleys around here to show you. Now I want to give you a little clarification. You're looking at what we call leg trunking, and there'll be a big pulley on the bottom of these as well as on the top that pulls that wide belt system that we saw laying on the ground that one of the guys told me now that there was 65 inches wide and 3 rows of 20-inch wide plastic cups that will convey grain at 65,000 bushel an hour, which would be 65 semis an hour. 80,000 pound loads, 18 wheelers. And we'll walk over now. I got my hard hat on again, and walk over and give you a little idea what the bottom looks like, and just clarify a little bit on this project for you. Now we can see how the one section that they put up this morning that weighed 98,000 pounds, and then tomorrow they'll connect the next section of this conveyor over to that additional support structure you see there. At times they'll put conveyors on top of these bins, but this is such massive weight and volume of grain that they rely on these support towers. And there you can see the far end support tower for the third piece of this massive structure that we watched them lift some of it today around. And now we're going to show you some legs, how the leg works a little bit. Now I want to show you what the bottom, and there'll be a big pulley where that belt will run down freewheeling, ready to pick up another buckets full of grain. You can see how they've got that massive conveyor coming out from underneath the bin, and some of these incredible drive systems that take massive electric motors to run as well. And so those two sets of trunking, like I just showed you, they will fit on the top end of this leg. You have one on each side, and then we'll show you the massive head pulley that actually grips and pulls that massive belt up. And as it flips over on the top, the grain goes in those conveyors that we watched them working on today. Now we're going to show you what it takes, that series of belt and cups that I believe a guy told me now is 65 inches wide. This is about a 6 foot wide head pulley, and look at the massive shaft and bearing on this. And there'll be an electric motor and drive system spinning this head pulley that will be dumping grain in excess of 65,000 bushel an hour. And but it's just incredible how there's a rubber belting on this as well, some straps, just part of the shipping process. But this is a massive head pulley that will run what we showed you earlier there, as far as that a 65 inch wide belt that's over 400 feet long. So that means when that leg that we just showed you is done, that'll be 200 and some feet. And this will be a belt running from pulley to pulley, one at the top and one at the bottom. The rest is that belt traveling in that leg trunking, and then flipping over when it gets to the top, and the belt will run up with the one side with the cups full of grain. It comes over this head pulley, and then they dump into a spouting, starting with square and then go to round, and into those conveyors that will lead to the bends. But a massive bearing and shaft operation. But can you imagine the amount of weight and pull that is on that rubber belt and this head pulley when that is fully operational? Just give you a little quick idea of what's on top of that two sets of trunking. That'll be on the outside, but they'll be in a little bit. And here will be the cover and the shaft, I believe, on the top of that head pulley, and that weather protects it and keeps the dust and grain inside. And then I'll walk over here in my jiggling hand, and we'll just show you the side where the grain actually dumps on this 10 foot by 6-foot piece. They've got panels of plastic for wear, because grain is very abrasive on metal, and especially certain types, and so they'll line these head sections and some of the squared around parts with these plastic either sheets or tile like they have in this one. But hopefully you're getting a little understanding of the massiveness that goes on in an operation like this. The left, the cups will come up and then they'll flip over the top as they head down, and the grain will discharge into that section, into a flat section, square section, that will eventually, in most cases, either in this case go to a conveyor or in many cases to round downspout. What we just showed you will be similar to what's as those two sets of tubing or trunking come up. Then they'll be covered with those what we call head sections, where those big bearings are and huge motors. So you got a little bit of understanding. See the gap there? That's at 2 sets of trunking, and all required to keep it weather tight and dust tight. As the 600-ton crane from Fargo makes some adjustments to its stick to have the right length and the right reach to put up these additional portions. You see they've got a full semi-load of just a portion of that 600-ton crane on an 18-wheeler, actually sticking out the back some on a long traditional, probably a 50-foot trailer or so. And then if we pan here slow, so we get ready to call it a day here in Ulen, Minnesota, they're doing some additional work with the 2 cranes, positioning the right length of stick for tomorrow that will lift what we watch them just move around today. You can see the big push. How or which portions or additional portions, as you can see, it's a massive piece of equipment. And a constant change just to make a few massive lifts, but essential. Give you a little perspective of the size of these conveyors and that walk space with this good-looking young man from Walt Construction in Alexandria. You can see how massive even the tunnels underneath these 840,000 bushel bends are, and the massive reclaim of pulling grain out from both gravity flow in the middle for the most part, and then as the bends get empty and a cone-shaped bottom appears, they'll pull out from other locations in these massive bends. Alan Repke reporting for Inform TV in Ulen, Minnesota, and we want to thank all the crew, the elevator here, as well as Walt Johnson Construction guys that have been very helpful. So we all